going to open up and take a look at Thunderstone Advance from AEG. This is the next incarnation of the Thunderstone game. It's a deck building game. I do not own the original Thunderstone game. I have it on the iOS platform. And I enjoy the concept of it on the iOS. It's just got a little bit buggy, some things I don't care for it on the iOS. But make it a little aggravating to play. But I thought I would try this, and I would try this new version. It's supposed to be backwardly compatible with the rest of it. But I think they've gone with kind of a little bit of a new format as the way it plays. It's a very nice box, really thick. It is very tight, hard to get off. But to start out, we have the rules of play. And you kind of get a card list, kind of a description of the types of cards. So we go into how to set the game up, go into some how to play and the anatomy of the cards, some of the concepts of the game, how the turn order goes, how to purchase and fight in the dungeon, some additional rules here. Gives you some examples of play, some samples. You have a card glossary, I guess shows you the definition of all the different cards. Kind of a lexicon, just a collection of the terms used in the game. You have a few scenarios here to that you can, gives you sample setups to play the game. You have some variants on it: 4x4x4 monster, random dungeon, familiar's choice, school of hard knocks, epic thunderstone, which I believe is you kind of throw everything in the pot at once rather than picking specific things. How to play solo, and that kind of wraps it up. And then on the back you have the quick reference to turn to guide you through the game. You have a little insert here. If you're new to Thunderstone, shows the basics in 3 easy steps here. So if you haven't played it before, kind of a quick intro into it. You have the game board here. It is a 4-piece game board. It is double-sided, so you can see you have your dungeon hall set up with your dungeon deck and a curse deck. You have the different places where the different types of cards can go, a familiar deck, and this looks like it's maybe the standard version of the game. I believe it's supposed to be an easier version of the game. This is a dungeon hall, more where you're fighting in the wilderness. So up here it's pretty much the same, except for you have 4 ranks of monsters and the light penalties aren't so severe. So an easier version of it on that side of the deck. Board back up. See, we have some little pieces here shaped like thunderstones. I don't know if those are the experience. Let's see, they have the symbols on them a little bit. Have the thing, the basic set up. Looks like it's got some foam inserts in there for the cards. I don't know. It looks like it could be close on whether or not you could fit the cards in the box with card sleeves on them. Let's see if I can get a closer up view of that to show the clearance you have left on it. You can see you get a little bit of clearance on that side if you pull it tight up against the other side, so I don't have any card sleeves right now to use with that. So you have the basic deck here, and these cards look to be a little wider and bigger than the regular cards, and then you have 7 other packages there. What I'll do is I'll open these off camera and sort them out into different piles, so it won't take quite so long to look at what each of the things are. So I've got all the cards sorted. Sorry if it gets a little shaky camera from here, but I'm holding it by hand so I can pull back a little more than the tripod I have lets me do. So start out with these larger cards aren't actually cards, they're just dividers for all the different types of cards so you can store them. So they have like little indexes on the top of them that show what stores behind them. Like this has the basic deck, so you can have a deck ready to go, which is 6 regulars, 2 long spears, 2 Thunderstone shards, and 2 torches. And you get several of those, so you can have your basic decks ready to go right off the bat. You get a big stack of regulars here. You can see that's just the basic fighter guy you start out with. You get a decent stack of torches, a nice little stack of Thunderstones, and some long spears. So those are the basic cards your deck will start out with. We have these randomizer cards, which basically you turn them over to the back side, and then you just pick out what you want to do to randomize your deck. And it'll, for instance, if you pick this one, you'll see you'll be putting the Druna Elf Cleric cards into the deck, into the game. But there's one of those for every hero, and then I believe there's one of those for every monster type. You can see the monster types here. Sorry it's so shaky. You have like a monster group, and there would be all the undead skeletons that were in the big deck of monsters. It's right here and here. Or no, these are familiars. Familiars and curses there. So you see you have a big deck of monsters there. But that's what the randomizers do. So there's basically one of those for every card that can, for all the items and weapons, and I believe they have them for for all the items and weapons. It's hard to handle these cards one-handed. As you see, you get so you have the basic cards, the monster cards, the randomizer cards, and then it looks like you have some familiar cards and curse cards here. So you just get a handful of familiar cards. So you have like an imp, a brownie, a dire wolf, a lesser phoenix, pseudo dragon, a battle hawk, and a shadow cat. And then you have a bunch of curses here. Looks like you have shame, sloth, neglect, discord, decay, hostility. And then you have the heroes up here. Looks like you get 11 different kind of heroes. So we have a human thief level 1 here. We get level 1, level 2, and level 3 cards. I'm just going to show the level 1 card for each one. And to get that one, you have an elf cleric level 1. And he has a magic attack. The other one had a physical attack. We have Druna Sacrist, an elf cleric level 1, and that's a physical attack. Some of them have special abilities too. We have Sternskin Orcbane, he's a dwarf fighter, and he has a physical attack. The Human Thief Wizard, looks kind of like a bard here. He gives each other hero a magic attack of +1. We have a Caliganite Lurker, and that's a dwarf thief. He has a physical attack. We have a Human Wizard here, and he has a magic attack. A Thunder Mage Summer, and they have she has a magic attack. A Voidwood Hunter, and it's a physical attack. A Deep Strider Sentry, and that is a physical attack. And then the last one is a Croshin Sergeant, and he has a physical attack. So you can kind of see from the Thunderstone game I played on the iOS, these all seem to have more of a, at least some of them seem to have a more character to them rather than being just kind of a generic thing. You have some weapons here. You have a Snakehead Flail, it gives you a magic attack, a pike that gives you a physical attack, a Dancing Sword that gives you a physical attack, a Long Sword that gives you a physical attack, a Dwarven Bear Hammer, and a Falcon Arbalist. You have some villagers that can be added to your deck. You have a Veteran Trainer, a Smuggler, a Bounty Hunter, a Battle-Scarred Leader or Soldier, an Innkeeper. You have 4 spells here that you can get. You have a Royal Summons, Bandia's Wisdom, a Mass Teleport, and a Summon Storm. And then you have 4 items that you can pick up. And there's a Moonstone, a Ranger's Wilderness Mount, King Kaelin's Writ, and a Filigree Amulet. So those are all the cards that come in the Thunderstone Advance. They call this the Towers of Ruin box set, which is the basic. It's the starter set for the Thunderstone Advance series. They had just the Thunderstone basic game, which you can use all those cards with this also. I believe it shows you how to integrate those cards. And they've continued on with their future set. I believe they're all going to be Thunderstone Advance sets, but there's a Thunderstone base game and a few expansions for that. And then that leads into the Thunderstone Advance, which can start off as its own new game, but is backwardly compatible. And then it has 2 or 3 expansions already out for it, so you can add more heroes and monsters and weapons and spells and everything to add to your deck. But that is everything that comes in Thunderstone Advance Towers of Ruin.